When it comes to waterfowl shotguns, there are two that come up in conversations probably more than any others. They are the Benelli Super Black Eagle 3 and the Beretta A400 Xtreme Plus. In today's video, we got a shotgun showdown, putting these two guns head to head to see which one comes to the top. Are you ready? Let's go. First thing we're gonna do in this video is we're just gonna compare the two side by side with specs. So you get a good overview of what these shotguns are. And then we're gonna jump into the SOSA test, the Steve's observational shotgun analysis to effectively save time, which I don't feel like that title does, but that's what it is. More to come on that in just a minute. So starting with the MSRPs, the MSRP of the Super Black Eagle 3 is $22.99 on the Super Black Eagle 3 and $20.49 on the Beretta A400 Xtreme Plus. So, but man, when I hear shotguns talked about, nothing comes up more than that Super Black Eagle 3. Is it because it's the best? Or is it because they're really good at marketing? I don't know. We'll figure that out when we put these guns to the test. Now, full disclaimer, I like both these guns. I think they both serve a function, but the fun thing about a showdown is only one can be crowned the winner. So big difference between these two guns. The Benelli is inertia driven system. The Beretta is gas operated. And when we break these guns apart, you'll see a lot less moving parts on the Benelli, a much simpler design. But you might see that this gas system offers some uniqueness to it as well. There is a bit of a difference in the weight of these shotguns. If we throw the Beretta A400 Xtreme Plus on the scale, it tips the scale 7 pounds, 14.8 ounces. I think on the website they say 8 pounds. It's close to an 8-pound gun. And then if we throw the Super Black Eagle 3 on there, 6 pounds, 14 ounces. So we're sub 7 pounds and just under 8 pounds here. So they're almost a pound difference. As far as other specs, out of the box, the Beretta from the trigger to the butt end is 14.25 inches. And it has some adjustability by adjusting these spacers. So you can go basically, I believe, from 14 to 15 inches. Where on the Super Black Eagle 3, there is some adjustability by buying aftermarket pads. It's actually pretty simple, but you gotta buy the additional pad. It just pops out like that. And then you can get different pads to change your length of pull. Also to mention with these stocks, both of these guns have the option to mess with shims and have some adjustability to your cast and your drop. But to my knowledge, the Benelli will go from like 14 3/8 to 14 3/4. So if you got a little bit longer length of pull, you're closer to that 15-inch mark. The Beretta gives you a little bit more flexibility there. So they both come with 5 choke tubes. The Benelli is the Recoil Plus system. The Beretta is the Optima HP system. Let's look at the triggers though. This is a spec that isn't really published by manufacturers, but I'm always kind of curious to see what their trigger is like, because that's a big part to me. I like a good trigger. So starting with the Super Black Eagle 3, just under 6 pounds, 5 pounds, 14.4 ounces. There we go, 6 pounds, 1.5 ounces. We're pulling right around 6 pounds, just under 6 pounds on a couple of those. A little bit of pre-travel, maybe a little bit more than I like. Let's try out the Xtreme Plus. Yeah, it's gonna be right there in the same vicinity. 5 pounds, 4 ounces on the Xtreme Plus. 4 pounds, 14.3 ounces. Sub 5 pounds on that one. 5 pounds, 1.9 ounces. We're not into the SOSA test yet, so I'm not gonna give these guns a score based on trigger, but this will play into it. The trigger does feel a little bit better on the Xtreme Plus, and it's lighter, which I like. Not everyone's necessarily gonna like. If you like to rip on those triggers, just pull hard, but we'll learn more as we shoot these guns. Let's jump into the SOSA test. Steve's observational shotgun analysis to effectively save time. As we jump into the SOSA test, we rank every gun based on these different categories: the looks, recoil and reliability, ergonomics, build quality, and shooting vibes. We handicap guns based on price. Any gun less than $500 has no handicap, then $500 to $750 has one handicap, $750 to $1,000 has a -2. We could take a $1,600 gun and a $700 gun and compare them and say which one's a better bang for its buck. Here we go. Now, one thing to keep in mind as we do SOSA tests, showdowns, review these guns, and we get more experience with the gun, our opinions shift just a little bit. So a gun that we maybe ranked a 8.5 in a certain category, a year later, we might be looking at it. Now that we've shot a whole bunch more guns, we have more experience and knowledge and more time with a certain gun, it might become a 9. Just a little heads up if you watch any of our prior videos and say, that's not how you ranked it before. But this is these guns side by side. The first thing we're gonna look at is the handicap of these guns. The reason we have a handicap is so we can compare guns that are not in a similar price point. However, in this case, both these guns are in a similar price category. It's a -7 for a $2,000+ semi-auto shotgun. Once you reach that $2,000 level, you're talking about the top dollar semi-auto shotguns. So both of these start out as a -7. Then we take a look at the looks. I know it sounds a little bit vain, but hey, raise your hand if you want an ugly shotgun. Maybe you don't care, put it in the comments. I don't care what it looks like. I do. I care what my shotgun looks like. And with both of these guns, I think we got really good, sharp looking shotguns. I think that overall, you look at this Super Black Eagle 3, the lines, the contours, how it comes together, it looks a little bit more sleek, a little bit more, I don't like to use the word sexy, but for lack of better terms. And then you get to the Beretta A400 Xtreme Plus. It's a good looking shotgun. I love the black accents, the rubber overmolding, but it just looks a little chunkier. It looks a little beefier. My preference is a little bit more of a slender, stylish look. So while these guns are both good looking guns, and I maybe have a slight preference for the Super Black Eagle 3, to give them a score out of 10, I'm gonna say they're both 8.5s, both good looking guns, right up in there. How do you get a higher score? You're gonna have to stand out in some type of way. These are both just basic camo guns. Let's move on to ergonomics. This is where you're gonna really start to see these guns separate. How does it feel in the hands? What is the form, the function, the balance? I've always liked the way the Super Black Eagle 3 feels in the hands. If I'm gonna shoot with a finger up, which you do a lot of times in targets, but a lot of duck hunters don't, then I don't like it. But just a thumb up there, it feels really good in the hands. Light texturing, doesn't have a soft touch feel to it. I like the cheek pad. There's a little bit of give to the recoil pad. Crossbolt safety on the rear, which if I'm gonna do a crossbolt, that's where I like it. Some people prefer it up front. If you do, you'll like this one. I don't like on these inertia guns that in order to lock them back, you got to press that lever, right? If I were to close it and then just want to lock it back, I can't. And I can't also cycle shells manually without doing that. The bolt handle and the bolt release on the Super Black Eagle 3 are very basic. Just kind of that pill style bolt release. It's not incredibly hard to hit, but it does require some pinpoint pressure. When you look at the loading port, slightly beveled and milled out. I like the ramp they have on the front of the trigger guard. They're pretty well balanced. Sometimes on these inertia guns, they're a little more rear heavy. They don't have any of the gas system. Like we'll find that one's got a little bit different balance point, but this is pretty well balanced in the hands. It's got a stepped up vented rib, big fiber on the front. Don't love that. But overall, Super Black Eagle 3, pretty solid platform. Let's take a look at the Beretta A400 Xtreme Plus, see how that compares. The bolt release, oversized, incredibly easy just to tap it. Bolt handle, oversized. It's got a cheek piece, but you'll see on the Benelli it's actually soft. This really isn't, but the stock looks totally different. That's because it has the kickoff recoil system, which is pretty advanced and actually pretty amazing. When you feel this gun in the hands, it's a totally different feel. It feels like I got a chunky 2x4 in my hand. First, that one's just sleek, streamlined, but I gotta say I love the rubber overmolding. Like if one gun's gonna slip out of your hands, it's probably that one, not this one. And I remember knocking on this gun a little bit because of its chunky feel in my review several years ago, but the more I shoot this gun, the more and more I like it. This gun has impressed me every time I've shot it. And I've really gained a new appreciation of it, to be honest. This one has a nice beveled out loading port. A little bit easier to get your hands into and load, in my opinion. Also has a stepped up vented rib. This has got a double bead. It's got a smaller fiber on front with a mid bead. I really like that. This one's a little bit more forward heavy. It gives some smoothness to the swing. Just being able to drive to where you're looking to rotate those hips and move. This point's so incredibly nice. So I like both of these guns for different reasons. This has got a sleek feel to it, light in the hands. This is a little bit more chunky, big, but just mounts so nice. When it comes to ergonomics, I think the Beretta has a slight edge. When it comes to the controls, definitely superior. Loading is better on the Beretta. The grips are better overall. This has the more slender feel, which I do like. So to give a rating to these guns, I'm gonna give a 8 to the Benelli. And I'm probably gonna give a 9.5 to the Beretta. I mean, I wish it was a little more slender. I do. But at the same time, every time I shoot it, I go, this gun is freaking solid. And I hit what I'm shooting at. It is money. So 9.5, which is a high score for ergonomics. Beretta did a great job on this gun. The Benelli's good too. Okay, now we get to the fun part where we actually get to shoot these guns. This is recoil and reliability. We're gonna start out with some target loads through both these guns and just shoot them. See how well they cycle, what the recoil's like. Let's pop a few rounds in each of these. So back to that loading part. I know we're past ergonomics, but the Beretta loads just a little bit smoother. Super Black Eagle 3. All right, we saw what that felt like. Xtreme Plus. Yeah, both feel good. Both feel good. Take a little bit into my cheek with that gun. Get more muzzle jump with this gun. A little bit lighter out front, lighter overall gun. You definitely feel the flip of the muzzle, but not a whole lot different. Again, we're shooting target loads. We're gonna get to waterfowl loads in just a second, but let's just try this quick. Yeah, you can shoot that one fast too. Let's go to the Benelli, see if it cycles from the hip. Sometimes these inertia guns don't like to shoot from different positions, but that's solid. That is solid. I got one more test. Now, gas guns generally will cycle more reliably from really any position you put it in. Just the way they operate. Let's try it over the head. 3.5-inch gun, no problem there. Cycling out of the Beretta. The Benelli, will it do it? Will it cycle over the head? Do you really care if it will or won't? I do, because it shows. How reliable a gun's gonna be overall if it's not 100% clean, if it's not just right. One thing I know about both these guns, very reliable. But let's step up. You're not gonna be shooting a lot of target loads. Let's go to the Federal Speed Shock. I'm gonna load both of them up and we'll do some shooting. I think this will give us the true feedback on recoil. We'll shoot one off the machine. Ooh, she punches. Straight back though, really nothing to my face. Less recoil for sure. Let's try that again. You better hold on to that sucker. It might take your glasses right off. I sort of mismounted. That was a little bit my fault, but that gun jumped, okay? That gun didn't jump, and I crushed that target. Kind of weird going back and forth between different guns with different stock dimensions, so I'm not hitting everything, but I'm looking at recoil here. Yes, significantly different. The Benelli is pretty much straight back. Maybe a little to my face, but not bad. Fairly enjoyable to shoot, but significantly more recoil than the Beretta. Hands down, hands down. This one has less recoil. I've shot this gun a lot, I've shot this gun a lot. Both very reliable, but when it comes to recoil, night and day difference right here on the Beretta. I have a pretty big gap here actually. I got this at a 9. I know it's ultra reliable. I've shot a lot of rounds through it. Recoil out of a 12 gauge is fairly light, but it is 8 pounds. Here you have a gun closer to 7 pounds. Straight back to the shoulder. It is pretty reliable, but the recoil is significantly different. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. 9, 7.5. And we're moving right along to the next category, which is quality. How good a quality are these guns? And part of that, I like to break them down. And out of curiosity, we know these Benellis are simple. They're easy to break down. They're quick. But let's put them on the clock. See the time difference to break these two guns down. On your mark. Beretta first. Get set. Go. All right, on this Beretta, one thing I really like, fore-end cap. Look at that pop. You don't got to sit there and screw it. Barrel and fore-end off. Now to get the bolt handle off, you got to push the bolt head in. I love that that comes off together. There we go. All we got to do pop this pin. Huh! There we go. The Beretta is apart, and we are at stop. 33 seconds, 33.14 to be exact. Pretty dang quick. I love how this gun breaks apart for a gas gun. It is incredibly simple. Benelli, is it faster? Let's see. All right, Mark, get set, go. All right, on the Benelli, we don't got that cool feature, that 4-end cap deal. Take a couple extra seconds, but guess what? Boom, 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 boom. That's off, bolts out, pop our pin. Come on. That slides out a little different, and stop. 22.85. It doesn't get any simpler than that. But we're looking at quality here. And I think both these guns are top-notch quality based on what I can tell. They're both just very, very solid. There's nothing really that I look at with these guns that make me think one is better quality than the other. Obviously, the Benelli has less moving pieces. That's a benefit, but it's not really a quality feature. Based on my experience shooting both these guns a lot, I think they're both 9s. I just don't see anything that really makes me think that they should have a score lower than that. I think they're both equally great quality, just two totally different guns in their form and function and recoil and those things, but quality, call that a tie at a 9. We're gonna look at shooting vibes, just overall shootability of these guns, and I'm gonna do a few off the machines, and we'll do some speed shooting. Pull. Nice. Let's try a 3, this high looper here. Nice, I like it. All right, let's get a 5. This is one of our tougher targets. 3 for 3 with the Benelli. Yeah, we'll do the same exact thing here. Pull. There we go. Oh yeah. I don't know, they both hit a lot of targets. This is a little more enjoyable to shoot from the recoil standpoint, but they're both shooting pretty dang good. I think we just gotta put them on the clock. I think it comes down to this. This is gonna tell us a lot. Recoil, reliability, mountability, swingability, Steve ability. Let's start with the Super Black Eagle. Before we shoot the clay, straight up speed. What are these guns capable of? Let's see. It's a .52. My splits were a 1.9 and a 1.8. 0.51. A 1.7 and a 1.9. So both pretty fast guns. Let's put them on clays because anyone can shoot the air, right? First, this section is brought to you by Carlson's choke tubes. We're shooting mod chokes at very close targets. We're gonna throw some Carlsons on. I threw way early. My splits though were terrible. A 1.5 and a 3.0. Let's give that another try. A little bit of that was trigger issue. A little spongy on the trigger. A little bit of that is recoil. A 1.55 total. 5.7 and a 3.1. Got faster, but I missed one. 2.1 and a 2.7. We could sit out here all day and do this. But while I'm still relatively fresh on the 3rd video of this hot, muggy day in Minnesota, let's go over to the Beretta. Way easier to shoot. It wasn't incredibly fast. A 2.3 to 2.4. Recoil is definitely less, but just pulling the trigger, less muzzle jump, heavier gun. I think that's a big part of it. Gas system, that's another part of it. But first one on the clock, felt pretty good. Oh, had that little hiccup. A little sponge in that trigger too. 2.1 and a 4.4. 1.48. Not blazing there either. I missed that last one. 2.3 and a 1.9. Neither of these do I shoot incredibly fast, but I can tell you this has got the better shooting experience. I like the way this feels in the hands. Just a little more slender, especially when I'm shooting clays. When I'm shooting heavier loads, I don't mind the added weight, the chunkiness, and it's just a smoother swinging shotgun with less recoil. This one feels a lot more violent when you shoot. Either one's great guns, but we got to give them shooting vibes. I would say this is an 8.5. This has got pretty good vibes to it. But I'd say this one's a 9. Just shooting off the machines, the smoothness of it, the recoil, the functionality of the controls. That's all these things coming together. I didn't love the trigger on speed shooting, either of these. although they're fairly light. I think it has to do with the pre-travel and also my just muscle memory of shooting the guns I shoot the most at speed shooting or trick shots. So no big deal there. All right, it's time to award some bonus points. I'm gonna give a bonus point to the Super Black Eagle 3, primarily for being incredibly reliable. I've shot a lot of inertia guns, and a lot of them have some hiccups, especially if you throw them from different positions. The Super Black Eagle 3 is proven to be ultra reliable. Kind of whatever you throw at it, from target loads to waterfowl loads, I think it's tough to beat from that standpoint in an inertia gun. So one bonus point. When I look at the Beretta of being a solid, reliable, light recoiling, overall waterfowl gun with great controls, I'm gonna give one more bonus point for that. That might be a little generous, but this is overall a great platform. You gotta put in the comments before we get to reveal the scores, final scores. Put in the comments, if you had to choose one, Super Black Eagle 3 or A400 Xtreme Plus, which one are you picking and why? I wanna hear, I'm always fascinated. The Super Black Eagle 3 has a 35.5 total score. It's pretty good, solid gun here in the Super Black Eagle 3. The A400 Xtreme Plus came out at a 39. That is a really, really good score. But you would expect both these guns to have pretty good scores, right? I mean, after all, they're $2,000+ shotguns. The Super Black Eagle 3 is almost a couple $100, right around a couple $100 more than the A400 Xtreme Plus. So bang for the buck, which one's better? We have the A400 Xtreme Plus listed as our top gun in this shotgun showdown. Hey, let me know where I was right. Let me know where I was wrong. And at the end of the day, I don't care which one you pick. It's not about me. I just like to make these videos to show shotguns side by side so you can make your choice. You can decide what's best for you. Is it the Super Black Eagle 3, the A400 Xtreme Plus? I'm happy as long as you're happy. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. What other shotgun showdowns should we do here on Target Focused Life? Remember, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only gonna hit those shots you're laser focused on. So live target focused. See ya.